Okay, can everybody see this screen? Can you just put your thumbs up for me so I can see? Brill. Okay, so as Mrs. Foley's already said, me and her are going to be doing this meeting today. I know it's not a meeting, but for want of a better word, that's what we're going to call it. So Mrs. Foley is an assistant head teacher, and she's head of all of Key Stage 3 and Transition. And I will be your year leader next year. So that means I'm going to be walking around your farm, coming into your classes and seeing how you're all getting on next year. Okay, I wanted to start with this question because this is the one that we get most every year. Our school building, if you remember from open evening, is absolutely massive. And people always say, what if I get lost? And honestly, when I first started at Newman, that was a question I had as well. What if I get lost? Because it's so big. But you get the hang of it really, really quickly because every room has a letter and then a number, and those letters are massive above the doors. So no matter where you are in the school, you can always see one hub and the letter that you're going in. So it's dead easy to navigate around the school once you get the hang of it. Now, if you're late to lessons for the first couple of weeks, obviously we're going to let you off a bit with that. As long as you're not massively late, then that'll be fine because we know you're getting used to it. So don't worry about that for the first few weeks because it's a brand new school and it's so much bigger than your primary schools that that's going to happen. You are going to be a little bit late at first until you get the hang of it. The other questions that we seem to have had a lot is about food and about the canteen. So I had a really good question that says, do I queue up with the other years in the canteen? And the answer is yes, but not at first. So at first, you're going to be given a slightly earlier lunch than every other year group. And that's just to make sure that it's just year 7s queuing up for food and that you get tables straight away, and then the other year groups will come after you. After a couple of weeks, though, when you get the hang of it, that's when you'll start queuing up with other year groups as well. But there's always members of staff in the canteen that are there to look at the queues and manage the queues. So don't be worrying about people pushing in front of you because that doesn't happen. There's always a staff member in the queue that makes sure that doesn't happen, and you will all get food, so don't worry about that. The other question that we get a lot is what food is there? Now, it changes every day with what you can buy in the actual canteen. Sometimes it's pies, sometimes it's pizzas, on Fridays it's chips, but every single day we always have pasta pots, paninis and sandwiches every day. So that's something that if you really like, you can have that every single day if you want to. But some of you might even choose to bring a packed lunch. And if you choose to bring a packed lunch, you can sit in the central forum or you can sit in the canteen. That's absolutely fine. The next question I seem to be getting a lot of is all about farm tutors. Okay, now I've got 2 slides here that you'll be able to see. They're all the farm tutors for year 7. So there's going to be 12 farms. And the question that I keep getting most is, when will I find out who my farm tutor is? And the answer to that is tomorrow. Okay, so you're going to find out who your farm tutor is tomorrow. And it's going to be one of these 12 people. And I'm going to post a video on Twitter and on our website on Friday where each of these farm tutors introduces themselves to you. So you'll be able to put a face to the name. So you'll be able to find out from your email who your farm tutor is, watch the video and say, that's my farm tutor. That's who I'm going to be looking for when I start in September. Another question is, will I be with my friends? Now, Mrs. Foley, me, and quite a few other people have had meetings with all of your teachers because we wanted to find out as much about you as we possibly can and about who you're friends with. Now, some of you and your teachers have told us who they think you should be in a farm with. And we've really tried to take that into account. Some of you might be with 2 friends, some of you might be with 1 friend, but you'll all have a familiar face, a friendly face. So nobody's going to be on their own. That's what we've really tried to do. Okay, what will we do in farm? On Mondays, you will have an assembly when we're supposed to have farm. So you won't be in your farm room on a Monday. We'll all be together in assembly. On Wednesdays, we don't have farm anyway. So that means your farm is only going to be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And in that time, you'll be given books because we want to make sure you're reading as much as possible and making sure your literacy in your reading is the best it can be. So that might mean reading out together as a farm, 1 person reading, the rest listening, or even sometimes comprehension. But we will sort out those books for you, and you don't need to worry about that at all till September. Will we stay together in our farms for our classes? And the answer for that is yes, but only for certain subjects. So for maths, for science, and for computer science, you'll all be in different classes. We're going to mix the farms up, but just for those 3 subjects. For all of the other subjects, you're just going to stay with your farms, okay? I don't know if it's going to be like that all year, but especially up until Christmas, you're just going to be staying with your farms because we think that that's going to help you to settle in a little bit better. Because normally, you'd be in our school right now, you'd be in Newman, and we'd be able to tell you all of this to your face, and you'd be trying to find your way around the school, and you'd be all excited, but we don't have that this year. So we're going to try and keep you together in your farms so that you're seeing the same people all the time and you're settling in better. How long are we in farm? It's 15 minutes on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's all it is. From 9 o'clock till 9:15, and at 9:15 it's lesson 1. So it's just 15 minutes in farm every day, but no farm on a Wednesday. Do we get lockers? Yes. Everybody gets lockers that wants a locker, and for some of you, you'll really use them all the time. It can be a pain carrying about a PE kit constantly, so it might be worth bringing in your PE kit, putting it in your locker, and just getting it when you need it. Do we take our bags everywhere? That was a really good question, and one that I hadn't thought of, but the answer to that is yes, because you will always have things that you need. We expect you to have a pencil case with obviously a pen, pencil, ruler, rubber. We expect you to have your planner, and we expect you to have your book every single lesson. And especially things like a planner and a book, that doesn't really fit in your pockets. So you need a bag to carry all of that round with you. So yes, you need to have a bag at Newman, and you need to take it everywhere with you. Okay, this is a good picture because it shows the size of our school, which I know is one concern that will be in everybody's minds. But if you just look to the back of that picture, you can see a giant letter B. That's what I was talking about before when I said all the rooms are a letter and then a number. So in B Hub, it will be B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6. They'll all be downstairs, and you'll know where B is because you can see a giant letter B. And upstairs, it's B7 all the way to B11. And that's the same for all hubs. A hub, B hub, C hub. Okay, so you'll see those straight away. The question that I had for this was, will we have maths and where will it be? Well, we are a Catholic school and we celebrate our Catholic faith. So we do have masses and we do have liturgies, and we have quite a lot of them throughout the year. Now, even if you're not of the Catholic faith, you will still be a part of the mass. You don't have to go up and take communion, though. You can go up and just have a blessing. Now, when we have mass, we tend to do that in the central forum, which is what you can see here. Okay, so we take away all of the tables, all of the chairs, and we just put in all of the chairs that we need for mass. When we have liturgies, though, we sometimes have those in the performance hall. Okay, so because our school is so big and it's so modern, we can basically choose where to put things. We can make our school change to what we need it for. Another question is about your timetable. Now you can see here, this timetable seems to be absolutely huge. That's because we have what's called a 2-week timetable. So you can see on the top, it says A, Monday to Friday, and then it says B, Monday to Friday. Okay, so we have A week and we have B week. For most people, that will stay exactly the same. It'll be the same on both weeks. But because we have so many teachers, sometimes we have to swap a couple of classes around. So where you might have French on a Monday, you might have maths on a Monday, period 1, the week after. Okay, so you still have all the same lessons, but it might just change slightly. Now you can see on this timetable here, you have loads of different classes. You have 5 lessons a day, but you do maths, English, science, history, geography, RE, French, computer science, drama, art, PE, DT, and PSHCE. So that's a lot of subjects. That is more than you do at primary school. So chances are when you go home after the first week, you might be a little bit tired and you might need to have a nap. That's completely normal. Some of the teachers do as well in the first week because it's hard to get back into that routine. Okay, so this is what your timetable will look like. It's 5 lessons every single day. Will I have double lessons? We try to avoid doing that. It has happened on occasion, but where I've seen it, it might be that you have lunch in between. So you might have history period 4, lunch, history period 5. So we try to avoid double lessons, but sometimes it can't be helped. How much homework will I get? That depends on your teacher, but I doubt it will be more than an hour for each subject every single week. Okay, so homework tends to be different with different subjects. So I know in French, they put all of their homeworks for a half term into one booklet, and they give you that booklet on your first lesson. And they say in a certain lesson, right, I want you to complete task 2 in your homework booklet. And then the next week they might say, right, you need to complete task 3. Okay, and that's your booklet. That's what French will do. Maths will give you a sheet of paper with some questions on every week. And the sheet of paper is always orange so that it stands out in your planner and you don't forget to do it. I'm a history teacher as well as being your year leader. And sometimes I set one piece of homework for a whole half term. Now, a half term might be seven weeks long. That means I might expect you to put 7 hours into that project over the half term, but I wouldn't set you any other homework around that. So every single subject is different, but you won't get more than 1 hour's worth of homework per week. Just got a question at the bottom, but I've got a little screen there. Do I have to remember it? That was a question that I had about timetables. Do I have to remember my timetable? When you get to this point in the year, you'll probably remembered it because you've been doing it all year. But at first, you will definitely not remember it. There's too much there. There's too many rooms and it's all new. So when you start with us in September, you'll be given a paper copy of your timetable and you'll have a planner. So you will have to write in all of your lessons into your planner. So you've always got it with you. And you'll have the paper copy. So you'll have 2 versions of it that you can keep. And if you lose it, we can just print you off another one. It's no big deal. So no, you don't have to remember it because it'll always be in your planner. But when you get about 6 months into the year, you'll have probably remembered it anyway without even trying. Okay, and the next question is always about what the school day looks like. Whenever people see our Wednesday timings, they always say, why is it different to the rest of the week? And that's for the teachers. So you might remember that I said in my assembly on Monday, we try and be the best we can be for you. And Wednesday is one of the days where we try to do that more than any other day. because at 1:45, when you all go home, we stay in work until 5 o'clock, and we're trying to make ourselves better for you. So that might be training to do a new type of literacy, or training to get more numeracy into our lessons. But it's always working to make your lessons better so you get the best experience you can. On Wednesday as well, there's only one break time, you'll see. The break time is half an hour long, and it starts at 11:30 after 3 lessons in a row. But if you look at our normal day, so the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, our break time then doesn't start till 11:15. So your break time's only 15 minutes later on a Wednesday, and you finish earlier. So you should be absolutely fine with that. The other thing that I get asked is, what is a movement bell? Because if you can see at the start of every day, it says movement bell 8:55. That movement bell is basically a warning. It's a warning to say your registration, your form is going to start in 5 minutes. So if you leave now, you'll get there on time and you won't be late. And then the bell will go again at 9 o'clock to say form has started. And we have those movement bells after break and after lunch because we're trying to make sure that you're in your classroom on time, so that there's absolutely no learning time lost, because that's what we want to make sure. We want to make sure you're getting the best you possibly can. What day will assembly be? That will be on a Monday. Okay? Year 7 is always on a Monday. And final one for me then, this is what I get asked a lot. What clubs are they? What can I do? Now, I will post this on Twitter so you can see it bigger, because I know it might be a little bit small in your classrooms now, but we do absolutely loads. In this table, you can see loads and loads of sports. So they do sports on Mondays, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at lunchtime, and they do lots of sports after school. So that's football, rugby, dance, basketball, table tennis, dodgeball, all sorts of sports. Okay, but we also have other clubs that are nothing to do with sports. So we've got a Scrabble group on a Monday. We've got a debate club. We've got a chess club. We've got choir. We've got djembe ensembles, which is like a type of drum. We also have groups that you have to apply for. So you have to write a letter saying why you deserve to be in that group and why you should be chosen. And that's things for like the pupil chaplains and the student council. You have to apply for them and be chosen. So our pupil chaplains help with the masses. They help Mrs. McGee. And our student council meet and discuss what changes they want to make to the school, what they like about school, what they want to see in our school. And one that I have missed as well, which is really popular, especially in lockdown, is our Eco Club, which is where they do a lot of gardening and they prepare to go to Tatton Park and show off their skills. And a lot of our Eco Club members have been growing their own vegetables and their own fruits over lockdown, and it's been lovely seeing the pictures on Twitter of them. Okay, final question I have, can we use the climbing wall? Sometimes in PE, you use the climbing wall, but you cannot use the climbing wall without a teacher, because we need to make sure you're safe, because we would hate for you to start climbing it and fall off it. So after school on a Thursday, you will see that there is a climbing wall club. So if you join that club, you can use the climbing wall. If your PE lesson is in the climbing wall, you can use the climbing wall. Other than that, no, because a teacher has to be there with you. I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Foley now, who's going to talk about some other things. But if you have any questions about what I've said, just put your hand up and ask your teacher to put them down the side so I can see them in a bit. Thanks, Mrs. Foley.
Thank you, Miss Statham, for that. Lots of information given to you there. This first slide is a little bit of a promise to you, because what we must remember is we only exist as a school because of you. And if you don't come to our school, or we don't have the year 8s and the 9s and the 10s and the 11s, then we're nothing without you. So our promise to you is that we must do everything we can over the 5 years that you're with us, so that as you grow up, you can become the best version of yourself. And this on the screen here is what we call our North Star. And it's our vision for you. Not our vision for us, but our vision for you. And as part of you, we're part of that. We are now going to take on the role of being your educators for the next 5 years. And what we're wanting to do is make sure that we give you the biggest advantage, so that when you're 15 and 16 and coming to the end of your time at Newman, you are fit to go into the world full of skills and confidence. And we have this because we want to make sure that as a member of our community, we open every single door for you. So if you've got dreams now of wanting to be a solicitor, a lawyer, a teacher, a doctor, somebody that goes into the armed forces, hairdressers, beauticians, swimmer, footballer, then we've got a job to do. We've got a job to do to help you realise your potential. Because behind our reception, we have a quote from Pope Francis. Now, I was lucky enough to go to Rome in October when Pope Francis announced that John Henry Newman was going to become a saint. Everyone in our school loves Pope Francis because he targets the young, because you're the ones that are going to make the Catholic Church more modern and more in touch with the 21st century. And he has a statement where he says, "Dear young people, dare to have fabulous dreams." And it's our job as the adults to make those dreams become reality. So you'll see our North Star, and we'll often hear teachers say things like, well, that's not giving somebody an unfair advantage. If we do this, it is going to give them an unfair advantage. And what we mean by the term unfair is that we believe that people coming to us have that advantage more so than anywhere else. But I also accept that other schools do their absolute best to give you everything that they can. Right, Miss, if you move on to the next slide, thank you. Right. I know many of you won't know me, but if anybody has ever heard anybody mention my name, and I'm going to see Miss Statham smile a little bit here, she will know what I am like with school rules and what I am like with school uniform. I'm one of these people that if a rule is going to be put in place, it needs to be followed, because if it isn't going to be followed, then it shouldn't be there. So if you look there, those there on the stairs outside the chapel, they're 4 of our current year 7 pupils, and they look absolutely beautiful wearing our uniform, and they wear it with pride. When the school opened, along with the old head teacher, I helped to design the colours of Newman. Unfortunately, I would have wanted red for United, but Mr. McGee at the time is a huge, and also Miss Statham, so be careful what you say here, Mrs. Foley. They're huge City fans, and unfortunately, we now have a school that has City blue and City purple, to be fair, but it's part of us. Everybody knows what Newman's colours are, and we're proud of them. So a question that's come up is, are we allowed to wear makeup? No. Simply no. Every morning when you enter the building, you will come in through a side door that leads from the car park. That's called it. You go straight into the pastoral care centre, and from 8 o'clock when the doors open, you'll have teachers there that will be inspecting your uniform from head to toe. So any makeup that comes in will not go past that room. It will be wiped off, it'll be washed off, whatever, because you are 11 and 12 years old and you're beautiful and just the way you are, and we don't need anything else. So makeup is not to be worn. Are we allowed knee-high socks? These have become a bit of a trend. When I was at school, we had them in primary school, but we didn't have them in secondary school. Knee-length socks are not allowed at Newman. Okay, you are allowed to wear plain black tights, but your socks must be black They must be plain and they must be to your ankle. So no frills, no patterns, just plain black socks. Now, if you are doing PE and you're wearing tights, try to remember, girls, to put a pair of black socks in so that you can change when putting your trainers on so that you're more comfortable. Okay, let's see what the next questions are. Right, this poster here has gone through lots of changes since we opened, but we've always had a motto that talks about the Newman Way. And the Newman Way basically means this is how we do things round here. All right, so in my family, I'll often say, I'm not bothered what happens in others, because in this family, we do this. Newman is a family. And what we do at Newman, it may be different to what goes on at other schools in Oldham, but this is ours. So this is how we will run things here. And you can see down the side here, we've got 4 R's, and it's all about doing the right thing, being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing with the right attitude. Now, the questions that we've got here were, what rewards will I get at Newman? If you're caught doing something good, you will get rewarded for it. So if you are holding the door for people, if you are picking up something because somebody in front of you's dropped it, if you're being helpful, people will see acts of kindness and you can be rewarded for those. We have a reward system where each lesson you can achieve achievement points for your work, for your effort, for the commitment, for your contribution. You can achieve star of the lesson, you can achieve star of the week. And these rewards will go onto our system, and each week your form tutor will talk to you about them. If you receive a star of the lesson or a star of the week, then a message will go home to parents or guardians to say that you've been great in your lesson and you've achieved a star of the lesson or a star of the week, and it will inform them in which lesson that has taken place. You will also get rewarded in assembly. So each week in assembly, I know that Miss Statham will be asking for forms star of the week. And I know maybe in your school you have different ways of rewarding you in your classrooms, and maybe you already have something very similar. And we do have a reward system, but equally, and that's the next question, we do have a consequence system as well. And that's where you can see on the poster there, we've got 3 words beginning with C. So we've got chance, choice, and consequence. Every single lesson of every day is a chance for you to be the best that you can be. But you hold all the cards for how you're going to react to your learning. And sometimes you may need to be reminded to change the way you're doing things. And that's okay. And your teacher will just give you a reminder. And that is the chance for you to make your mind up of what you're going to do next. If you choose to continue doing the things that your teacher might have asked you not to, then you're taking the choice to not change your behaviour. And sometimes that will result in a consequence coming your way. And a consequence could be that a teacher has a word with you at the end of the lesson. A consequence could be that your teacher might have to ask you to move seats. A consequence might be that a teacher might keep you behind for an extra 10 to 15 minutes. A consequence could be a phone call home. There are lots of different types of consequences, but you must understand that they are there because the number one priority in that room is that everybody deserves the right to learn. So we have these systems, but we don't want to use the reward system. The consequence system is just to make you realise that you have got to give your best, because other people deserve you being the best that you can be, so that everybody can do well. What if I see people that aren't doing the right thing? If you are unhappy with what somebody is doing and you don't feel confident in challenging them, that's okay, because that's what the adults are there to do. If you're unhappy with the way somebody is treating somebody else, or if somebody is affecting the learning in your lesson, then you talk to the adult, because that's where we have been trained, and we have the authority and the power to have quiet words with people to fix things that we all don't like, because it's likely if you're not happy with something, other people might not be. So we've got a duty to kind of help others by informing the adult. Will I be told off if I'm late because I'm lost? If it's June of next year, yes. But if it's right at the beginning, no, because we don't expect you to be able to memorize everywhere you go on a Monday 1 to 5 or on a Friday periods 1 to 5. But there will become a time when we kind of will think, do you know what, these year 7s, they should know where they should be right now. So that idea of I got lost near Christmas or in February or April, it might not work as well as it would have done at the beginning of September or later on in September. So it's a hard school to get lost in, because everything comes back to that huge central forum in the middle. So you'll always work your way back there. How do we get into the classrooms? Do we line up? Many of you will have been to Newman, and you will have seen that the classrooms are always around a hub space. So there's 6 rooms around a hub space. Many of those hub spaces now, which is one of my rooms, have been turned into classrooms. So the idea of lining up is not always possible. Now, we as teachers, we've got instructions that get given to us from Mr. Potts and the deputies about what we need to do. And one of our things that we must do at the beginning of every lesson is we must be on the door to greet you wherever you've come from. So that as soon as you come to us, we are there to greet you. Your books or things that you will need will be on your desk, and you'll have something to get on with. So you'll be welcomed in, you'll go to your place because you'll be sat in a seating plan. So you'll always know where your seat is from the moment you come in September. They may change, but you'll always know beforehand. So sometimes you'll line up. So for example, when you're doing PE, you will line up, because you line up outside near the sports hall and you're taken in groups. But that tends to be the only one that I know that lines up all the time. Others, you'll have your teacher on the door, and the minute you come in, the importance is getting straight in that room, getting your things out and getting on with the learning. Thank you, Miss Statham. Right, safeguarding. Your happiness and well-being is very important to us. And at Newman, we have a huge pastoral team, and it's a team built around every year group. So every year group has a year leader. So you've got Miss Statham. You will have a pastoral coordinator. It's called Miss Collins. And in that photograph, if you can see where it says pastoral team, if you can see where the P of the pastoral is, Miss Collins is directly below that. Okay, that's your pastoral coordinator. You will also have an academic coordinator called Mrs. Kearney, and you'll get to meet her in September. We also have a group of people whose job it is to ensure that if there are any issues in school with anything, we have a team of people that pick it up and deal with it in a confidential way. Any issues around how you may be feeling or something that might be upsetting you sometimes will need to be discussed with people, because we might recognize that you're just not yourself, and that's our job to do that. Because once we get to know you really well, we will know how much of a jolly person you are, and we'll know if you walk into our room and just feel a little bit different today, and we've got a job for your safety. So sometimes we will have a conversation with you about that. But all these people are here for one thing, and that is for your well-being and for your safety. Okay, so therefore the question there, will I be emotionally supported at Newman? That's a really intelligent question, that. So thank you for whoever put that one on. Yes, you will, because I hope that when you see me, some of my year 10s and 11s often say this to me. They'll say, Mrs. Foley, you must have had a really bad day today because you look really flustered. And sometimes I am, but most of the times I'm absolutely fine. But the children can recognise when I'm having a little bit of an off day, just in the same way that we can recognise when you are. So sometimes it's nice for you to say to any of your teachers, sir, miss, are you all right? You give us your emotional support as much as we'll give you ours. What if I am bullied? There's no place for bullying anywhere. And that's not just as you as young people, but it is as us as adults, because it might sound a bit strange, but bullying isn't just something that happens between children. Adults can feel bullied too. And it doesn't belong in our family. So if you at any point feel that somebody is making you feel uncomfortable consistently, or even just once, then the team, those people there, the photographs of any of those people there, you can talk to. But I would hope that you build a good enough relationship with your form tutor that they would be one of the first people that you speak to. So that the sooner we know, the sooner we can act. And then a situation does not get out of hand, okay? Because we want to ensure that you are, like we say, you are safe, you are happy, because a safe and happy child will thrive. What if I see someone being bullied? There was the question on the other slide that asked, what if I see something that I'm not happy with? Well, this is the same here. We're a Catholic school, and you will know from being part of a Catholic primary school of all the different things that Jesus taught us to do. And one of the things, he gave us the golden rule, and that is that we do to other people what we would have them do to us. So if you see somebody going through a hard time by another, then we've got a duty to help. And that does not mean you confront somebody that's giving another person a hard time. It's that you tell an adult. And you know, and that adult doesn't need to go back to anybody and say who told them what. But that other person will be happy knowing that on that day, somebody looked out for them. Because if it was happening to me, I'd want somebody to help me. So it's doing the right thing. If you don't like, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't look right, I can 100% tell you it isn't right. So speak to somebody privately or just talk, because talking will help the situation. All right, next one, miss. Here for you. This is linked kind of to the last slide. Because of worries that you may have, if you're worried about anything, we have an email address, and you can see it in the middle there in red. It says here for you at newmanrc.oldham.sch.uk. That email address you can email any time of the day. Doesn't need to be on a Monday and Friday when we're at school. It doesn't just need to be when we're in term time. It can be weekends. It can be in the middle of the night if something's keeping you up. It can be during, any type of holiday, half term, Christmas, Easter, summer. If there is anything that you feel that you cannot share by talking to somebody, then writing it down in an email may be the best way for you. So that email is picked up, and we have a team of people that access that email, and you will receive a reply from there. And then we will open up a conversation and help you with whatever worries that you may have, so that we can offer the correct support. So please don't worry about anything. And I'm hoping that any worries you can talk to somebody about. But if you can't, that email, and it'll also be in your planners. So when you get your planners in September, that page will be there, so that you'll be able to always have that email to hand should you need it. Okay, thank you. Miss Statham mentioned this just in a few slides earlier with regards to form time. And the question there says, what do I need to bring with me every day? Every single day, you need to come to Newman with a school bag that is appropriate. It's appropriate, meaning that if the weather was to pour down like we've had for a fair few days recently, it's going to keep the things inside it dry. So you must have a bag that is going to serve the purpose for which it's made for. Now, I hate to tell you, handbags don't do that, ladies. Okay, water gets into handbags and books don't fit into them, and PE kits and trainers certainly don't. So make sure that your bag is appropriate, that it's got a zip, that it is waterproof, and it's going to keep everything in there protected. So what you will need is a school bag. You will be challenged if you come to school without a school bag. And I don't want to start that way. We need to start the way we mean to go on. So we must have a school bag. In that bag, we must have a pencil case. So what I don't want is that all your pens are inside your blazer pocket, just in case anything was to leak. You must have a pencil case that you put all your pens in, not just one pen, more than one pen, just in case anything was to happen or one ran out because you've been using it so much. A ruler, because everything at Newman, we pride ourselves on our presentation, and we often, you know, in my role as one of the senior leaders, I often come into classes and what I'm checking is your presentation. And I don't mean your handwriting. I don't have great handwriting, but I can underline the date, I can underline the title, and I can space out my work if I'm told how to do it. So I'm not trying to change your handwriting, but we are going to work with you on your presentation of the date, the title, and things like that. So you'll always need a ruler. So a ruler must be in that pencil case. Pencil, okay? Our art teacher hits the roof if somebody brings out a pen and starts to draw in pen. If you're like me and you make any mistakes, pencils are great because they allow you to get rid of that and redo it. So make sure you have a pencil and a decent rubber that would help you to rub out that pencil. We also say your planner that you'll get in September, it must be with you every day. So your planner, you'll be taught how to use your planner, how to record your homework. It's a bit like a diary, and it's dated for every school day, and you'll be taught how to use it and how to fill it in. But it has to go back home every night and come in every day. And every week it must be signed by somebody at home. You also need to have a reading book. Now, in September, that's likely to be a reading book that you bring in on the first day. Any book that you're reading, you can bring in. Once the reading program begins, it's likely that you may take that book home and to school. It may be that it stays in school and you keep your original book in there until you finished it, and then you swap it with another one from home. I'm not sure that you all love reading. Some of you will love it more than others, but reading is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And actually, it's amazing to get lost in a book at times. And even during lockdown, I have managed to read an 800-page book, which normally I'd only ever do in the summer holidays. But I've actually managed, it's taken me a while, but I've managed to do it. And I felt so proud. And also, it allowed me to focus my mind on something else for a period of time. So every day, make sure those things are with you. Your PE kit when you need it. If it's a rainy day, a coat. But please, I said last night when I met with parents that please make sure your coat is appropriate for school, that it is not going to be huge, that you're going to have to hold it in two hands, because it's going to just distract you and it's more likely to go missing and be left somewhere, and I wouldn't want it to go missing. Thank you, Miss. Right, that's our question. I hope we've gone through lots of things that burning questions that you may have. Now, teachers, you may have some children that have got any additional questions. Now, I'm not sure whether you can all access the conversation button. If you can access it, if there's any questions that you may have that the children might have, then me and Miss Statham are more than happy to answer any questions, because I don't want the children going away from this feeling that there was something that they didn't get to ask. So if any teachers want to just ask the children while we're here, any questions that you could type in there, and then we'll go through it. That's okay. Just give you 5 minutes or so. question's just come through. It actually just came through on my watch, which is pretty impressive. Question says, of Mr. Aston, why can't you take your jumper off? Right. There comes a time in the year, as you know, living in Oldham, where we have heat waves. And when we get to that heat wave, then Mr. McGee won't, because he's not here anymore. Mr. Potts makes a decision to allow us to take our jumpers off. And that's usually in the summer term, that our jumpers don't need to be part of our school uniform and can be left at home. But if you remember that picture that I had, it was of the year sevens and our uniform. We're very, very proud of it. Sometimes I've been in many of your primary schools and they are always a lot warmer than ours. So you must have much more hot energy in your room than we do at high school, and our rooms aren't as warm. So I can understand you've got your shirt, you've got a jumper, and you've got your blazer. In every room, if you put your hand up and ask your teacher, because you're warm, please could I take my blazer off? You're never going to be told no. But your blazer must be with you while you are walking around school, and you'll always be stopped if you don't have it on. Equally, if you don't have your jumper on. But nobody's going to make you boil and be really hot. So in your lessons, you will be able to take them off, but you'll just have to put them on. But I can assure you, the school is well aired, for better a word, so it isn't boiling hot. Right, another question. Can brothers and sisters show you to lessons? They can, but you know what? You wouldn't want them to be late for their lesson. So if they do, then they're going to be late, and then they might get a little bit of a consequence for being late. So yes, you can see brothers and sisters if you're in school, but remember that your experience at Newman is about the new people that you will meet. So if you've got brothers and sisters in any other year, work really hard on forming your new friendships so that you don't need to rely on them, but that when you do see them, you can tell them all about all the great things that you've done. Right, so I've got, what is the situation with phones? Right, mobile phones are important. And they're important to get you to school and get you home from school. And they're important to communicate with our friends. But you have to agree, year 6, sometimes we don't use them very well. Sometimes we're not very kind with our mobile phones. I can put my hand on my heart and tell you now, I am always kind on my phone. And I would never upset anybody. Because if I really wanted to upset somebody, and unfortunately in my time I have upset people, I've done it by talking to them. And then when I see their reaction of how I've made them feel, I feel awful. But if you're going to do those things on a mobile phone, you can't see how that makes somebody feel. So mobile phones in school can't be seen. So from the minute the bell goes at 8:55, any mobile phone that is used during the time from 8:55 until you have left your period 5 lesson, if we see them, they will be confiscated, and they will only be returned 24 hours later when your parent comes in to collect them. So I can see straight away some open mouths here. And yes, that is absolutely true, because mobile phones are good, but we are guilty of using them in an inappropriate way. And if that was to happen, and you do that in school, you will lose it. And I spoke to parents last night saying that it is important that your parents know exactly what you are up to on those phones. Because if they don't and things come our way, sometimes you're doing things that are against the law. So year 6, please don't put us in difficult situations, because you will give us no option. Okay, sometimes things happen outside of school with friendship groups on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, house party, you name it, and they cause us problems in school. They won't cause us problems in school we will be bringing your parents in to deal with it, because we are here to learn. So please make sure you use them appropriately, and when that bell goes, they are out of sight. Okay? Went on a bit there, didn't I? Did you get the message, Year Sixes? Thumbs up. Like it, thank you. How long are lessons? Lessons are 1 hour, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On a Wednesday, they are 50 minutes. So they're shorter on a Wednesday because we finish early, and we remove form, and we remove an additional break. Do you have a girls' football team? Yes, we do. Okay, so the girls' football team, the same as any team, whether it's netball, football, hockey, rowing, swimming, athletics, cross country, whatever. You know, with all sport, they're seasonal, aren't they? So they don't run all year round, but they are for periods of time. So when it's the cricket season or the football season, netball season, there will be practices and training, there will be tryouts, and then a team will be selected. And then there'll be trophies and medals, which we pride ourselves on. Can you wear shorts? This could be boys or girls. No. Now, one of the hardest things going from primary to secondary school is that when we do hit those heat waves, you have to still wear long trousers, boys. Girls, you can wear the girls' trousers, or you have to wear the school skirt. Shorts can be worn in PE, but PE is only the uniform when you're doing PE. There's no more questions come through. Has anybody else got any more questions? No? Miss Statham, have you got anything else you want to add?
I don't think I do. Thanks, Mrs. Foley. I just want to say how well everybody looks like they're listening as well. I'm really, really impressed with everyone. I can't wait to meet them all.
No, I know. Look at all those smiley faces.
Yeah.
Are you all excited? Yes? Do you feel better now that we've come into your classroom? That we can see you? I can see a young man walking back there. I can see a young man swinging his legs.
I can see the boy at the back of Miss Clough's class with a United shirt on. I'm not a fan of that shirt. Absolutely not.
Well, we'll agree to disagree there, Miss Statham.
Oh.
Anyway, Year Sixes, it's been a pleasure. Okay, this has been recorded, so you will be able to go and play it back. You'll be able to watch it again at home. It's going to find its way somehow when I find out how to do it with the IT team. It's going to get itself onto our transition page on the website so that you can watch this over and over again, and you can share it at home with parents, grandparents, or whoever else that you want to share it with, brothers or sisters. I've really enjoyed being with you this morning. Year 6 teachers, can I just give a massive thank you for all the support that you have given these children and ourselves. You are handing over a beautiful bunch, and you've done them proud. So Year 6 teachers and everybody that's in these bubbles, thank you so much for bringing them back, bringing them together, and allowing us to speak with them and be in your classrooms today. I can honestly say your classrooms look spick and span. They look lovely. So thank you. If there is nothing else, then that is it, folks. Until September, please, please continue to be the best people that you're being for these last few weeks. These are the moments that your 6 teachers will remember. The very end. Go out with the biggest smiles on your faces. And don't forget to be tying those ties to the railings somewhere, so wherever we're driving past your schools, we'll be able to see them. Year 6, take care. Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.